Number 1.
My life was dismantled piece by piece. And when I tried to buy it back, it cost me everything. I must finish what I started. Death's design will be complete.
Baldur's Gate 3 made one hell of a splash when it launched in 2023. It had been in early access for quite some time, allowing devs to fine-tune gameplay to perfection. The launch build has since been updated, and as it stands, Baldur's Gate 3 is simply one of the best RPGs you can play on PS5. You'll start your Baldur's Gate 3 quest by being infected by a brain worm, and must forge an easy alliances to uncover a way to save yourself. Along the way, you can take on combat and puzzles in pretty much any way you want. The full variety on offer in Dungeons & Dragons is available here too. Whether you want to be a brutish barbarian or a whimsical bard, there's a playstyle for you. While the game is undoubtedly made to be played on PC, the console port is exceptional. If you're into fantasy RPGs, you really can't go wrong with picking up Baldur's Gate 3 on PS5.
Bow before me. Bow before the absolute. Bow!
Number 2.
I've been on quite the adventure, little brother.
I reckon it's got something to do with that girl.
It's got everything to do with that little girl.
The Last of Us Part 1 takes the iconic PS3 title and drags it into the modern age. Its visuals have been rebuilt from the ground up, bringing things more in line with the game's sequel, which has since also been remastered. The main draw here is the opportunity to revisit one of the most iconic games of the last 20 years, one that's influenced the way narrative storytelling has evolved in this industry over time. For those that have yet to play The Last of Us, maybe those that started with the TV show, this version is absolutely worth jumping into. Even if you played the PS4 remaster of The Last of Us, there's plenty to enjoy here as well. For one, the Left Behind DLC is included, and there's even improved controls and subtle tweaks to gameplay mechanics like crafting. Absolutely one of the best games you can play on PS5 in 2024. Number 3. Demon's Souls is still one of the best-looking games ever made, even almost for years removed from its launch. This is because it fully leverages everything that the PS5 can handle, with some of the best lighting and particle effects you'll find on console. In terms of the game itself, Demon's Souls is a lovingly faithful remake of From Software's cult classic, with some modern bells and whistles to help bring it up to speed. Players will find a challenging yet satisfying action RPG, with hulking bosses to fell, and labyrinthian dungeons to explore. If you've played any of the Souls series, this is the one that started it all, and you'll no doubt recognize many of the systems that have now become a standard of the genre. Demon's Souls forcibly drives home one simple message from the outset: you will die. It doesn't matter how patient, careful, or skilled a player you might be, because sooner or later, you will die. As you learn about enemy attacks, where hidden paths are, and slowly level up your character, however, you'll eventually emerge from the catacombs victorious. Number 4. Astro's Playroom is the best pack-in game since Wii Sports, as it perfectly showcases what Sony's new system can do. From the sumptuous, crystal-clear 4K visuals to the pleasing 3D audio, this is a gem of a platformer, and it's pre-installed on every PS5. It's the way Astro's Playroom shows off the DualSense controller, though, that really steals the show. You'll feel sensations that you didn't know were possible before thanks to Sony's haptic feedback and adaptive triggers tech, such as what it feels like to walk along different surfaces or fire a Gatling gun. It's a surreal, magical experience, and we recommend booting up Astro's Playroom first before you play anything else. Better still, not only is it a genuinely top PS5 exclusive, it's completely free. This is a must-play for those who want to see what the DualSense controller is really capable of. Number 5.
Get up.
Many RPG games claim to offer a spectrum of choice, but that usually boils down to doing a good thing or a bad thing. Washed-up cop simulator Disco Elysium doesn't make things so simple. Amnesiac from drug and alcohol abuse, your cop explores all the shades of gray in between what constitutes a pure or dark morality in his quest to solve the murder of a hanged man. The writing is exemplary throughout, pulling you into Disco Elysium's vaguely European, vaguely post-communist city of Revachol, and the award-winning soundtrack is equally evocative. It's not one for action fans. You're primarily engaging in conversation-driven detective work here, but it's role-playing of the highest order, an RPG quite unlike any game you'll have ever played. Disco Elysium Final Cut is easily one of the best RPGs on PS5 right now. Number 6. Gran Turismo 7 restores the racing sim franchise to its former greatness, fixing the lack of content and slightly underwhelming visuals in both GT6 and GT Sport. GT7 gets back to what the charming racing sim does best, offering bags of content with sublime racing gameplay, all wrapped up in a wonderfully charming and inviting user experience that's remarkably Moorish. GT7 is also a stunning showcase of PS5 tech, making arguably the best use of the DualSense wireless controller's haptic feedback and adaptive triggers. You'll feel every bump in the road, every screech around the corner, and every gear change as you maneuver around GT7's litany of tracks. Pair this with lightning quick load times, and you end up with a beautifully seamless racing experience in GT7. You rarely wait longer than a few seconds to dive into or retry the racing activity. GT7 is a glorious return to form for the series, and easily the best racing game to showcase the PS5's capabilities.